leads in nicely to the ownership conversation of the CRM. And one of the things that is often why the CRM isn't being utilized properly, managed properly, and also one of the biggest areas for opportunity when there is ownership and accountability. Talk to me a little bit about, what we're seeing there and what really works to make the CRM part of your overall business strategy, therefore much more effective at, generating revenue.
Long story short, it depends. Whoever's owning your business operations typically needs to be the one owning the CRM. I've seen, companies where it's only sales using it. Usually it's someone in head of sales or their assistant that's kind of maintaining it. But it does seem to be a bit of a hot potato in terms of accountability, particularly in like mid-sized companies where they're big enough to have a nice sized team, but there's not necessarily, you've got your head of sales, head of marketing. You don't necessarily have the layer where it's like chief revenue officer, head of both marketing and sales. And so really my recommendation is to whoever is ultimately in charge of the customer journey, which usually is going to fall under operations, owns it from A to Z. And what you'll find is by assigning the accountability and the responsibility for maintaining the CRM, it's also going to be a forcing function for getting your marketing and sales and customer service to integrate as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I find too that the more that you're able to pull reports, use the data, use the dashboard, have a dashboard, the more leadership wants to interact with the CRM because there's a story there, and we can then use, the learnings from that to be a more effective organization. So again, it kind of has a flywheel effect of its own, right? The more you use it, the more you're able to create those dashboards and set that up, the more that, the whole team wants to get involved because you see a direct correlation between CRM activity results. And at the end of the day, we're all in business to get results. And so the CRM, making that more front and center versus, it's just, oh, sales has that, or, oh yeah, marketing. But like, no, this is part of our business. This is an important part of our business. The more you see actual results, growth.
100%.
Okay, so let's move into how companies can use. We've created this amazing assessment tool. How to use this tool to, kind of self-diagnose, like where you're at, almost give yourself a grade, and begin to create an action plan to take all these amazing tips and tricks we're giving you and put them into action in a way that is setting you up for success versus just, okay, another webinar I listened to, another learning event, great stuff, but nothing happens as a result. Like our commitment is action. Something happens as a result of this, even if it's one thing. So you want to talk through this amazing assessment tool and how companies can use it?
Yeah, so our assessment tool is really meant to guide you through the customer journey and to help you establish a baseline. And like Wendy said, it's a diagnostic tool to help you know what you're looking at, assuming you're not already and 100% expert in your CRM. Now, it's going to guide you through everything from looking at your data. How is it being managed? Is it being managed? What's the quality in there? I think that if you just do one thing in our assessment tool, it would be to help you establish a baseline of your data quality. From there, it goes into lead capture and management. So how are you collecting your contacts, and then what's happening with them once you collect your contacts? How's your CRM integrated with the rest of your tech stack? Do you have automations in place, or are you using your CRM as a tool to do manual work, which we've often seen? Looking at how your customers and your leads are segmented, and how and if you're personalizing the content. This is where we really start kind of getting into what I would say are like intermediate to advanced uses of CRM. So, once we know that your CRM has accurate data, that it's collecting and capturing data properly, it's integrated with the rest of your tech stack, we're then also looking at is your sales pipeline being managed in there and tracked? Is your deals board accurate? And so this really takes you through step by step through the customer journey to look at specific things within your CRM to see, are you doing it? Is there opportunity to improve it? And then, we think of it as crawl, walk, run. So, first you crawl, you get the data, you're walking, you're using the data, light automations, and then run is like personalized data, smart content, A/B testing, and then really building out the house so that you have super customized content for every persona, for every product and service along the way. So our assessment tool is really to kind of help you know where you are in your crawl, walk, run journey with your CRM, and to hopefully identify some basic things and updates that you can make to your CRM in order to start seeing more value from it.
Amazing. So in terms of how a company should use this assessment tool, it's one, downloading it. It's two, determining who in your company should be involved. I think it's, setting an intention of how you want your CRM to be, like what does the end state potentially look like? And that could be a moving target. It doesn't have to be set in stone, but we always find that if we kind of know, what the vision is, what the ideal is, then going through this tool, this assessment, it makes it a little bit easier to know where you're at. And so, setting that intention, that, kind of end state, and then maybe it's a couple blocks of time, maybe it's one block of time. I guess it just depends on how, how complicated or simple some of these questions are for you to answer. And then, so it's, it's going through it. And again, that may be like one session, a 60-90 minute session. It maybe you need to break it up into a couple different sessions, but within a relatively short period of time, I think you should set that, going through it. And then once you've gone through it all, now what?
Now you start from the beginning. I always pull it back to a house or a car. If you have a flat tire, meaning someone gives you their email and they're not getting the download that they requested, that's a flat tire. So fix the flat tire. If you have a lot of unengaged contacts, that's a flat tire. So you can run a re-engagement campaign to either get them to become re-engaged, or you can move them out of your marketing contacts, and it's decluttering things digitally. So it's really like use this assessment tool to identify your flat tires and start there.
Excellent. Now, if a company doesn't want to do this on their own, they need some support. How might they utilize us to help them with that?
Well, we have a team of CRM experts that were able to do assessments very efficiently to help, not just help, but to actually find the flat tires and give you clear action items to fix them, including, this is thinking about, a traffic light, these are your red lights, these are your yellow lights, these are your green lights. And ultimately that's the whole, you're going to get a comprehensive report of our recommendations to optimize your CRM with what you have today. And that takes a lot of time and guesswork off of your plate. So if, honestly, if you go sit down to do this and you're frustrated, raise your hand. We can take care of it for you.
Yeah. And what does that process look like? Just, kind of big picture.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, so basically if you're going to bring us to do your CRM assessment, we're going to want to start to understand what your customer lifecycle looks like. So we're going to need to know at a very high level. You don't have to train us, like we're going to be part of your marketing and sales team, but we need to understand what the customer journey can and should look like. We also want to get as much of a history on your CRM as possible. So how, to your knowledge, how has it been used? What's been working? What hasn't? So that tells us what we're looking for, right? So if you take your car into the shop, usually you're going to tell the mechanic this light is on, or I'm getting this error, or this is what's going on. So we're going to start with a quick consultation so that we can at least know where to focus on. And then we'll roll up our sleeves and audit it. So we'll actually, and part of the diagnostic is we're going to need to get access to your CRM and your data in order to do the audit. So then we'll roll up our sleeves, figure out where it's stuck, come up with clear action items. And typically the timeline for that is a couple of weeks. We'll do it faster if you have a smaller or simpler CRM. And then if you're, depending, if you're an enterprise size company, it's going to take us a lot more time. So we usually shoot for a few weeks from time of request to when we deliver the report. And then we meet with you to go over the report just to make sure that you're clear on what we're recommending, why we're recommending it, and answer any questions that you might have.
And then I'll put words in your mouth, but from that report, I mean, you kind of have a couple options, right? Like as a company, you can take it and start putting implementation in place if you've got the resources. Alternatively, within those recommendations, there might be things that you're like, hey, you take care of this for us. We don't have time to build out these sequences, to build out these workflows, to do these things, to build out this template library. So there are a lot of things once we understand what's going to have the most impact and really how to create your CRM as a constant revenue machine, what has to happen, you can determine from that, okay, we're going to take this, you do this, or hey, we're going to do all of it, or you do all of it. So that's, I guess in terms of like what can happen as a result of getting this amazing audit report recommendations, it's the ability to have a plan that has a very high chance of success, in some cases 100% chance, to implement it and to implement it effectively.